In 1936, the British Empire was on edge. King Edward VIII sat on the throne, but his heart belonged to a woman the world deemed unfit. This is the love story that would rock the foundations of the monarchy. Edward was unlike any monarch before him. As the Prince of Wales, he was adventurous, rebellious, and eager to break free from royal tradition. He longed for a life beyond the formalities of the crown. Then along came Wallis Simpson, an American socialite with a past that sent shockwaves through royal circles. She wasn't royal, she wasn't British, and worst of all, she had been married before. But Edward didn't care. Wallis had captured his heart completely. As their love blossomed, scandal followed. Edward and Wallis became inseparable, their relationship a constant topic in gossip columns and drawing rooms. The British elite were horrified, but Edward wasn't fazed. He was determined to marry Wallis. But there was a serious problem. Wallis, a twice-divorced woman, could not be queen. The Church of England forbade it, and the British government feared the public outcry. Edward, as king, would have to choose between the crown and the woman he loved. Faced with this impossible choice, Edward wrestled with the weight of his decision. Could he truly abandon the throne for love? Or should he sacrifice his happiness for duty? In December 1936, Edward made his choice. He shocked the world by announcing his abdication, stepping down as king to marry Wallis. It was a decision that rocked the monarchy to its core. Headlines around the world blared the news, "The king abdicates for love." Edward's decision marked the first time in British history that a monarch gave up the throne voluntarily, and all for the love of one woman. After abdicating, Edward and Wallis lived in exile, far from the country he once ruled. They became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, living a glamorous yet controversial life across Europe and the US. Despite the scandal and exile, Edward and Wallis stayed together for the rest of their lives. Their bond endured, even in the face of the world's judgment and the sacrifices they made for each other. Edward's abdication changed the course of the British monarchy forever. His brother George VI ascended the throne, leading the country through war and into the modern era. Eventually, Queen Elizabeth II would inherit the crown, ushering in one of the longest reigns in history. To this day, Edward and Wallis's story remains one of the most famous royal love stories in history. They defied tradition and the expectations of an empire, but their love came at a tremendous cost. Was it worth it? Only Edward and Wallis could answer that question. In the end, they chose each other over power, leaving behind a monarchy forever changed. In a world where duty and love often collide, Edward's story reminds us that sometimes the heart leads us on a path no one else can understand. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more incredible stories from history that shaped the world.